Hey everyone, welcome back to Binary Corner, and in this video we are covering the dynamic routes on the Next.js. In the past video I have covered the group routing and the nested routes, how we're gonna create these nested routes, and in this video we are primarily focusing on dynamic routes. So let's go over and understand what are the dynamic route and what are the types of the dynamic route in the Next.js and why do we need them, right? So dynamic routes, it's something very special in Next.js because from this we can define dynamically routes like post, or if you want to have articles, or if you want to have dynamic content from your URL. So I have segregated these dynamic routes into four categories. First is normal, second is static params, third is catch all segments, and fourth is optional catch all segments. And you can also see them on the Next.js website, so I'll link them down the description so you can go and check that out, right? So for this demo I'll be showing you what are these dynamic routes. So first let's understand what the dynamic routes are, right? So let's suppose you have a website and if you want to create a dynamic route. So what I mean by create a dynamic route, right? So let's suppose if you are creating a blog, right? But the issue is like we saw that in our Next.js directory we can create multiple folders called article 1. So let's suppose I have a blog and then I can say article 1, then I can say inside this blog, and I can say uh, article 2, and this way we can just copy this file and then just paste it over here, and then we can just say blog 1, and then I can go in article 2 and then I can say blog 2, right? So if I save this, you will see if I go back to the website and if I do slash article 1, so you'll see I'll see a blog 1, and then if I go to the different route, I can see the blog 2 page is now loaded. But the issue is, what if I want to dynamically render this, right? So let's suppose if I have a database, and from this database I am pulling all the articles. So let's suppose I have a list of articles in this, which is blog 1, then blog 2, and then blog 3, right? Somehow I am storing these blogs in our database. So how can we pull that dynamically on our Next.js, right? So that's the question, and to solve this we're gonna use the dynamic route, right? So how the dynamic route will work is, so we'll configure this dynamic route, and once the user requests the blog 1, so we'll fetch the blog 1 from the database and then we'll show that on the Next.js, right? So let's go over the documentation and let's see how they have implemented it, right? So dynamic route, if you see in the documentation, they are saying dynamic route are passed as a params prop to layout pages or generate metadata, right? So these are the files and methods in which we can use the params, in which we can get the dynamic route. And how we're going to configure it is blog, and then we're going to get slash, and then for the folder name we're going to give square brackets slug, right? So this is how we're going to use the dynamic route. So let's use that. So instead of using article 1 article 2, I'll delete this. I'll do delete, and then I'll create another folder and I'll name it as blog, right? So if I name it as a blog, or if I name it as slug, under this I can just copy this code, and I'll show you what this code is, which says export function page, and then in the props we are sending a params, right? And what this param is a promise. In the earlier version in Next.js, earlier to 15, currently I'm using Next.js 15, this param was not a promise. But going forward, they are recommending it to use the promise, so we can await on this, right? So now you can see that in order to get the slug, we can use the slug, and then we can show that in a div my post and slug. So if I change this to blog page, and then I'll just give a slug over here, and if I save this and I go back, now you will see if I go to article 2, it will show you me article 2, right? If I fetch article 3, it will show me article 3. If I go to xyz any random character, you will see that it is getting rendered on the page. So this is how we're going to use this this key to fetch the page from the from the database. So let's use that to fetch the post on our blog post, right? So in order to use that, I'm using a dummy API, and then if I give second, it will show different post. If I go third, it will show different post. If I go fifth, it will show me a different post, right? So we're going to use this API just like our server. So if you are hosting your server in Next.js or maybe in Java, so you can create that server. And what we're going to do here is we're going to create a new folder, and we'll name it as server actions, right? And then what we'll do is create a file, fetch post, and then I'll give it as ts, and I'll give use server. This is how you're gonna create server actions. And in export, what I'll give is export get post, which will take id, which is string, and it's a function, and then it will return me what it call a, so it will return me a promise, and then I'll create a type, and I'll just copy this, and I'll do export post, right? And I'll just paste this over here, and I will define a type for this. So user ID is number, right? ID is another number, and I will just wrap this in catch block, console.error, fail to fetch post, and then I'll throw this as new error, fail to get post. So this is the simple server-side component which will return us the post. So what I'll do is get post, and then what I'll do is, since I'm getting the slug in this, I can do a const, and then I can get post, right? And then I can do post equals to await get post, and I can just pass slug inside this, right? And this get post is coming from the server action, right? So I'll use this post dot body, right? So if I save it, now you will see if I go back. So what I'm doing here is I'm getting the slug, and I'm passing it in get post, and get post is nothing but a server component which is sitting on the server since I'm using use server, and it is returning us the post. So if I go and do first, it will take some time, and you will see that our post is now there, right? So it is similar to this what we are fetching from the server, right? So if I go 2, it will return me the second post. If I go 3, it will return me different post. If I go 5, it will change and return me the updated value. So that's how you're going to implement the dynamic params, right? So in addition to this, we can also generate these params on the build time. Build time means when I'm running npm run build, on that time this params gonna populate, and it will build my pages in a dynamic way, right? So how we're gonna do that is, right now I'll do npm run dev. In order to use that, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy this generate static params, and I'll go back to page.this file, and I will do is generate static params, right? So now I can do is it will get all the post, and then it will create a map, and then it will start to downloading all these articles on a build time, right? Currently what is happening is every time I'm hitting blog 1, my Next.js server is sending a request to my API server, right? And then it is getting that post and downloading it and showing it on the UI, right? But what if I want to download that and save it in a cache, right? So in order to use that, I'll copy this generate static params, and I will do is copy this generate static params, and I will paste it over here, right? So what I'll do is to generate 5 posts, I will do is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And I'll map this in this way, right? So what it will do is it will get all the 5 posts, and it will map it, and it will save it in the page, right? So let's save this. And what I will do is, you will see it is getting me some error because it's a string. So I'll convert this into string. So let me do that, and then 5 to 5, right? So if I save it now, you'll see I don't see any errors, right? So what I'll do now is I'll do npm run build, and in order to show this, so if I do npm run build now, so you will see it will generate these as a static files, and you can see on the build time when I'm shipping this project on the production, it is downloading all the blogs in the blog 1, blog 2, blog 3, blog 4, and blog 5, right? So now if I do npm run start, right, which is basically the build version, and if I go to localhost 3000 and I will switch off my Wi-Fi, and now you will see if I go to blog 1, you will see my post is there, right? I don't need to have a active website connection, right? So if I go blog 5, you can see it is working, but if I go blog 6, you will see it's a internal server error because I haven't given the 6th blog on the generateStaticParams. So that's how you're going to use the caching of these pages on the build time. So when this is useful is basically if you have some static pages like contact us page, or maybe different pages you have, right? Disclaimers, or different page you have, right? So on those pages you can use this generateStaticParams that will download that content on the build time, and it will be very fast in serving these pages to the user. So that's the use of the generateStaticParams. And similarly, a catch all segment and catch all optional segment are similar. So if you want to have different categories inside shop, so in this example you can see the user is defining shop / clothes / top. So if you want to have something like that, you can define it in a catch all segment, right? So in order to do that, you're gonna give 3 dot inside this square bracket. So if I give 3 dots, I'll give 3 dots, and I will change the server. I'll do yes, and I will run the dev server now. So it's giving me some error. I don't know why it's giving me some errors. I'll do don't save. Oh, I should remove this. So now if I save this, and if I go back, and if I do 1, yeah, okay, so my network connection is not there, so let me connect back, and if I do 1, you will see let me comment this out, and let me return in a div, right? So if I return it in a div, right, and then if I do slug, you will see if I do this, and then if I do /article, you will see it is nested on top of it, right? So if I do this one, so you can see it is nesting it around, right? So when this is helpful is if you want to have multiple slashes, like multiple categories inside one page or another, you can use the dynamic route like this, right? So in order to get this, you can simply do slug 0, and then it will just show you the first value of the slug, right, which is 1, right? And if you want to get the second value, you can just do 1, and then it will just show you the second value, right? So this is how you're going to use the catch all segment, right? And optional catch all segment is also similar to that, but in optional catch all segment you will also get an undefined value. So I hope you like the video, and if you really like the video and if you like the series, make sure you hit the like button, and make sure you subscribe to our channel for more such videos on Next.js, right? So you can go check out my other videos also on Next.js, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.